Good afternoon, everyone. This is Danny Pacheco, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with our update today. And if you were on the Wednesday update call of last week, I was very, very specific that this was not going to be the company update call. This was going to be an update that specifically dealt with mining. And we've had a lot of inquiries in this department, and typically this is something that most people, when they acquire it, they kind of know how to do this stuff, and we realize that this is such a new concept for a lot of people that we just wanted to go ahead and give you a clear picture of what mining is all about. We're not going to go into every aspect of it. We're going to really go into just how it relates to iPro network representatives that actually have pro rewards that they've subsequently have turned into pro currency. And so we're going to cover that in just a second here. I did want to give just one quick little update. We'll go into some more details on Wednesday on a few topics that are really exciting. I'll give you a heads up. We're going to be giving some updates on the Pro Mall, so you definitely want to be tuned in on Wednesday for that. But I just came back from Mexico. We were about 2 hours from Mexico City. Not sure if it was south, north, east, or west, but I was there. There was a group of people that were just, kind of begging us to come out there to support them. We have started the legalization of iPro Network in Mexico, so that's a very important update, and I can tell you that they are on fire. We have some very, very strong leadership that's come on board, and that is about to explode with a lot of activity. They're wanting to do an actual pre-launch event over there over the next 30, 60, 90 days. So somewhere in between all of the other events that are going to be happening between that time, that's probably going to happen. We'll give you more updates on that, but just a quick little update on where the future growth of the company is going to come from. Well, it's coming from all over the world, but that's one specific place that we're going to be really, really supporting. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. And let's talk about staking. Now, staking is what typically is known out there as mining. Mining and staking are very, very similar in what they do. But they are different. I guess the best way to say it is they're exactly identically the same, just different. And I'm not here to tell you or sell you that one is better than the other. You guys can decide for yourselves which ones you think are better. That's a conversation where if you get a couple of geeks, a couple of nerds together, and I can certainly geek out with some people over the subject. However, that's not my place to tell you which is which. You guys can decide that on your own. What I can tell you that everybody would agree on is the very basics, which is it's very, very simple, very easy to do proof of stake versus proof of work. And so that's kind of the challenge there, right? That's kind of the setup here is proof of work versus proof of stake. So I'm going to try to be as neutral as possible, and I don't know if that I could do that objectively because I'm a little biased because we're all part of iPro Network, and what we have is proof of stake. Now so I just want to be very, very careful that I'm not telling anybody here that there's no value to proof of work or that it's not good or everything should be proof of stake. In fact, our particular currency is actually a hybrid that has done proof of work and merged over to proof of stake. So and again, that's going to be kind of like a technical conversation that would give most people a headache. But the highlights here is that it is very simple. It's very efficient. Now, when we talk about efficiency, I'm referring more to the process of how it happens. It kind of takes away from some of the resources that are needed in order to do proof of work. And again, I don't want to make it sound like proof of work is bad. It's just different. Based on how many coins you have in your wallet. That's how proof of stake works, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on that. Okay, so if you look over at the left-hand side, And that's what proof of work looks like, okay? People were able, they can put all these mining rigs together, and, the level of complexity that goes into setting this up as you grow and wanting to have more mining power. And the reason you want to have more mining power is to ultimately be able to resolve mathematical equations. That's the process that is used to verify transactions and to make sure that everything is legitimate of how those transactions are happening. That process gets exponentially more difficult, which means you need to have more mining power, which means you need more hardware, more connectivity, and you're going to need a lot of electricity. And that's a conversation that anybody that's in the mining business of proof of work is going to, agree with what I'm saying. It takes a lot of electricity, and it takes, you have to know what you're doing in order to be able to offset the electricity costs, and that your mining operation is actually producing enough in order to be profitable. And so if you look in the middle of your screen, you're going to look at proof of stake, which is you just have to have your computer open like your laptop, and off you go. If you look right next to it, see on the left, the very first screenshot there, that could be a serious mining operation in your garage. But some currencies, example, Bitcoin, and again, I am not knocking Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. I love Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin. I love it, and I'm not saying anything negative about it, but I am saying this. To get into the mining game with Bitcoin, you can't even do it out of your garage anymore. Now you have to have server farms, and you have to have these racks, and it's just gone to a whole nother level. So I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying they're different, and I hope that I'm not being biased here. I'm trying to give you as an objective understanding of some of the differences here. So in the middle, POS, that stands for proof of stake. That's the simplicity of it, has to do with what's not everything around it or the hardware, but what's actually in your laptop, which in this case I'm referring to your wallet. So we're going to switch gears here real quick. I'm going to pause my screen for just a second, and we're going to switch gears here, and I'm going to go into my wallet. So hopefully everybody can see my wallet right now. Okay, great. Great. Okay, so if you see my wallet, and this is not my actual wallet, this is a wallet that I'm just using for this presentation. I don't want you guys to look at my balance. No, I'm just kidding. It was just I changed computers, and for whatever reason, I have one of my daughters walked into it, and she goes, "Dad, you have another new computer?" And it was because for my Surface Pro, for whatever reason, I couldn't get the wallets to show up so and display in the way that I want it to. It's a different operating system, so I had to go to something a little bit more mainstream. So one of the things that I want to point out to you is that you have to do two things to make sure that you're staking. Now, I'm assuming, okay, that everybody already knows how to download the wallet. The wallet is very simple. It literally took me about 2 minutes to download it onto my Surface Pro, and it took me 2 minutes to download it on this other thing that I bought. And so it's very, very simple. I tried it on 2 different computers, and the process was very, very simple to do. If you don't know, you could go to myipnhq.com/wallet, and you're going to see a series of videos that are going to teach you how to download your wallet both for Windows and Mac. Very, very informative. What you're also going to find there is everything that I'm going to tell you right now. It's in video format already, and it's, somebody that sounds a lot better than I do. So what you're going to do if you're on Windows, and I can only do this with Windows because that's what I use, I don't use Mac, but the Mac is very simple. It's just the version of what I'm doing right now in Mac. If you're a Mac user, you're going to know how to do it. If you don't, it's part of the video. It's in the same video. It'll start with Windows, and then it'll go over to Mac, and it'll show you what I'm showing you right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your settings are set on your computer so that you're able to mine. So what you do is you're going to go here into the settings of, I did that too quick. You go into settings. Let me close this up one more time. You're going to go here. You're going to click on the start button here. You're going to go into settings. Then you're going to click on system where it says display notification apps power. I'm not sure what it's called over in Mac. I think it's called Energy Saver. If memory serves me, I could be wrong. Watch the video. It'll walk you right through it. So you click on here, and then you're going to go into where it says power and sleep. You're going to click there, and then every one of these settings here that have to do with screen and sleep, what you're going to do is you're going to switch that out to never, and you're going to switch this out to never, and you're going to switch this out to never, and switch this out to never. So now essentially what you're doing is you're making sure that the screen isn't going to go to sleep while you're mining, right? Because if it goes to sleep, well, guess what? You're going to get your Pro Wallet's not going to be synced up anymore. It's going to cause problems. It's going to interrupt your mining. So you're making sure that none of this happens by switching all of this to never. Now, once you do that, all you have to do is just close out and then come back in. And then the next thing that you have to look at is this little lock symbol over here. And see, when I set up my wallet, I'm kind of like, into security, and I like to make sure that I have a passphrase with this or any of the other wallets that I have with any digital currency in them. So if you encrypt your wallet, which to encrypt it, you would go into settings, and then you would pick, well, actually it's already encrypted, so it's giving me a different selection here. But if it wasn't encrypted, when I click on settings, it would ask me if I want to encrypt my wallet. If you want to encrypt your wallet, you click on that setting, and then you create a passphrase, which obviously I've already done. And then, that's what you have to do. If you encrypt it for security reasons, because you don't want to get somebody, make it easy for somebody to steal your currency, then you're going to use those passphrases. Now, I have mine encrypted, so I'm going to go ahead and in order to mine, that has to be unlocked. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. Then you got to make sure that you click on this for staking only, and you're going to put the passphrase in here. And please, if you set up a passphrase, write it down, memorize it, make sure that it's something that you can do. It could be 10 random characters or 8 different words, but with no spaces in between. You just make sure that you remember it, and that when you're typing it in, you're typing it in correctly. Because obviously you have to do it twice, but I've known of people that actually type it incorrectly twice, and when they remember it, they type it in the way it's supposed to type in, and they're always getting it wrong. So make sure that you type it in the way it's supposed to be. Now, let's go ahead and put the passphrase in here. And let me go ahead and type this here. See if I remembered that correctly. Hang on a quick second, folks. Okay, so it looks like it did it. Now, if you notice down here, it's unlocked now, so this is ready for staking. So now I put my passphrase in, I made sure that the screensaver isn't going to kick on, and it's not going to go to sleep. All I have to do now is the most complicated thing, so I need you to pay very, very close attention. Once you do those 2 steps, right? Now, some of you, it might be 1 step, right, which is to make sure that it doesn't go to sleep if you have not encrypted. If you haven't gone through the encryption process, then that's all you have to do. And then you would have to do this step. So it could either be one step or two steps. Once you do both of those, the most difficult thing you have to do is leave it open for 6 hours. Let me say that again. Once you do these two things, all you have to do is leave your computer open with your wallet open for 6 hours, and it will automatically start staking for you. All right? So did everybody get that? All right, good, 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 good. All right, great. So that's the process of staking with your Pro wallet. It's a very, very simple process. Now let's go back to the slides that I was showing you a minute ago. And I want to keep going here for just a second more and talk to you about the benefits of doing this, okay? So let's take a look a little bit closer at staking. And I took this literally from an article that I found, and I wanted to share it with you. I didn't want to change anything to it because it was such a good article. So I just kind of copy and pasted it because I could have written it a bit better myself. It says, ever wanted to mine crypto coins but found it daunting? Or maybe you figured out after purchasing expensive video cards and or dedicated ASICs that mining is a technological arms race that favors huge consortiums with deep pockets and close ties to hardware manufacturers. In other words, a losing proposition. Now, obviously, this particular part was not written by me. The person that wrote it is a little bit biased in terms of proof of stake, but he's not wrong in what he's saying. It's just, you know, it's written in such a way that's a little bit biased. So kind of ignore that. But the first part here is true. There's a lot of expense that goes into other types of mining versus the type of mining that we use. So let's continue on here. So the strategy of staking involves taking the money you would have spent on mining hardware and purchasing high stake coins from a coin exchange, sending them to your personal wallet, and from there watching the balance grow. Yes, it's just that simple. In this scenario, proof of stake minting replaces the usual proof of work mining for block generation. So the purpose behind either staking or mining is to verify transactions. And when you do that, it generates what's called a block. That block is the reward for actually doing the staking or the mining, which puts weight on the network and allows everything to be ultra secure. So the reward for doing that is the blocks, and the blocks are the coins. So, you know, for example, Bitcoin used to, every block was 25 up until I think it was June of last year, and then it went to 12 and a half. So now it's harder to mine. It's a lot harder to mine a block, but it's also giving you half as much as it was before. So it becomes very, very difficult for the little guy to be able to compete right now in that world. So anyway, otherwise known as securing the network and processing transactions. The more coins you hold in your wallet, this is key. The more coins you hold in your wallet, the more chances you have of solving blocks and reaping stake rewards. So this works a little bit differently. Whatever you were going to spend or try to spend on all of these different things and keep upgrading and figuring out the electricity and all this stuff, are we going to do wind power or solar or cryogenics to keep it cool? So it's just all sorts of things that you have to do with proof of work. With this, you're putting those funds that were going to be allocated to get you off the ground the other way, you could use them to acquire cryptocurrency because your chances increase by how much you actually have in your wallet. Now, there's no need for specialized hardware or software beyond your own personal computer and the specific coin wallet. A typical PC or laptop can easily run several staking wallets simultaneously, and the wallet does all the work of minting for you automatically. Pretty simple. Now, of course, all POS coins have different parameters and rewards for staking, but the mechanics are essentially the same. Coins sit in your wallet gathering weight. Okay, that just means they're acquiring more. They're, you know, if they win the blocks, you're getting more currency. A product of the amount of coins times coin age. Once your coins have amassed sufficient weight, usually advertised in hours or days, you fire up your wallet, unlock it if it is encrypted, and it will attempt to generate and add a proof of stake block to the blockchain. With a little luck and enough weight, you'll quickly solve a block and receive a reward according to the coin's parameters immediately after your coins are returned to and aggregated in your wallet for compounding gains. And the process starts anew, and the rewards can be staggering, upwards of 2,000 per annum for some high-stake coins. Now, let's talk about the proc parameters. We started, or we ran, everything went online, and then, the blockchain went online somewhere around April, if I'm not mistaken. So the first year, it's staking, or the blocks are being rewarded at 15 procs, or 15 per minute. 15 what? 15 PROC, 15 pros. Okay, those are the rewards for each block, and that happens every single minute. That will happen continuously every single minute up until April of 2018, and that will be the cutoff of 15 pros per minute. The second year, so starting April of 2018, ongoing, well, actually for the next year, it will go to 10 pros per minute. And then the third year, it goes to 5 per minute, and that's where it will always stay. So right now, where we are today is the best timing for those of you. And I know we've had so many different requests for information about this, and some people have contacted procommerce.io and the pro development team, but we just wanted to make sure we addressed it so that you understand that right now, between now and April of next year, is this is where you're going to be able to have the most bang for your pro. I was about to say more bang for your buck, but we're not dealing in fiat dollars, we're dealing in pro. So this is where you're going to get the most out of that. So for those of you that are holding a lot of pro, this may be something that you may or may not want to do. It's your, it's your coins. You can do whatever you want with them. But if you are interested in mining, right now is the best time to do so, because the payoff of it is never going to be the same. In fact, it's going to go down. So from the third year forward, it'll only be 5 per minute, and that'll go to about 300 years or something like that until the last one is actually minted. So hopefully this was some very, very good information for you. You understand a little bit more. I want to stress once again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. Please don't go out there and say, hey, Danny said, proof of work is no good and you should all do proof of stake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the way our parameters work and the way our mining works is through proof of stake. It's not through proof of work. And here's the pros and some of the things that people are saying about both of those. This is not what I'm saying about it. This is what people are saying about it. So I want to make that perfectly clear. This comes from Block Geeks. And if you look at each one of these, they're going to say a little bit about, the comparison here, right? Because that's kind of like Android or Apple, I think would be a very good analogy here of what that argument is. And as we all know, Android is number one. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just recently switched to Apple, and I got to say, I'm still on the fence. There's some things that I really like about Apple, and there's a couple of things that I miss about Android. One of the things that I really like about Apple is the battery life. It just doesn't go, away as quickly as my Android. And, I got to be careful because I live in a household of just Apple lovers and Mac lovers, and I'm still kind of hanging on a little bit and the whole thing. But it's no different. You're going to have one camp that's going to say Apple is the best, and you're going to have another camp that's going to say Android is the best. Well, it's the same thing here. Some people are going to be diehard proof of work. There's going to be some people that are going to be diehard proof of stake. And this is what I'm showing you right now, what people are saying. So hopefully I've done a good enough job there of making sure that you don't think I'm trying to steer you one way or the other. Proof of work is a requirement to define an expensive computer calculation also called mining, okay? Then the other thing it says, a reward is given to the first miner who solves each block's problem, and then it goes to network miners compete to be the first to find a solution for the mathematical problem. Okay, so we kind of covered that a little while ago. Then it says on proof of stake, the creator of a new block is chosen in a deterministic way depending on its wealth, also defined as stake. So there it has to do with how much you actually have in your wallet, which is going to determine how many chances you actually have in order to win a block, and the most advantageous time that there will ever be is between now and April of next year. Then we have the POS system. There is no block reward, so the miners are taking the transaction fees. Proof of stake currencies can be several thousand times more cost effective. Proof of work or proof of stake, you have it on the other side. It says the probability of mining a block is dependent on how much work is done by the miner. On the other side of that, you're seeing person can mine depending on how many coins they hold. So once again, it's a little bit different. It pretty much does the same thing, right? It's set up so that it actually adds weight and verifies transactions. It's just in the manner in which it's done. For somebody starting out, or like we like to say, the little guy, it's probably more advantageous and cost effective to be able to do proof of stake. The next one is payouts become smaller and smaller for Bitcoin miners. There is less incentive to avoid a 51% attack. Well, what is that? Well, theoretically, if somebody would actually mine and take over 51%, then it no longer is a decentralized system. It becomes more of a centralized system, which is what it says at the bottom. POW systems have powerful mining communities, but tend to become centralized over time. Now, if you actually go onto Bitcoin and look at what the pie chart distribution is of the people that are actually mining, these are huge, huge, huge entities that are mining that are taking up the lion's share of what those blocks are. And so, just to give you an idea, to even get into a mining pool, in most cases are going to charge you anywhere about $250,000 and above to get into a pool. If you actually bought like the quickest, fastest, most powerful miners that are out there, you could be looking at equipment that's anywhere in the neighborhood of $2.5 million to get started. So there's a lot of things there. Proof of stake, on the other side, it says the POS systems makes any 51% attack more expensive, not impossible, but it would be a lot more expensive. POS systems are more decentralized, but must work hard to build communities around their coins. Well, guess what? We are working hard to build those communities, and as people understand all of these things and get involved, we're going to see some incredible things happen. So, folks, that's what people are saying. That's not what Danny Pacheco is saying, but it is some very good insight in what you have. So to recap, it's very simple to do. Turn off the sleep and the power saver stuff on your computer, whether it's Windows or Mac. Make sure that if you have your wallet encrypted, that you unlock it, and then all you have to do is leave it open. Leave your wallet open, leave your computer on for 6 hours, and it'll automatically start staking for you. Make sure that little checkbox for staking only is checked off, and you're good to go. So folks, the most profitable time to be able to do it, the most advantageous time for you to do it is right now until April next year. Then it goes down to 10 for the following year, and then beyond that, it goes to 5 per minute until you mine the last currency, which my math isn't off, is take about 300 years. So folks, thank you so much for being on this update. I encourage you to be on Wednesday's update. We're going to be talking about the Pro Mall, so make sure that you have your people on that webinar. Thank you so much for being a part of this update today on mining. It was my pleasure. Thank you, and God bless.